This is a video from the Exam 3 review, and we're going to look at problem 9. Consider the basis S, which is the set containing the vectors -2, 1, and 1, 3 for R2. And let T map R2 to R3 be the linear transformation such that T of -2, 1 is -1, 2, 0, and T of 1, 3 is 0, -3, 5. Find a formula for T of x1, x2, and use the formula to evaluate T of 2, -3. Okay, first, I'm going to take the vector x1, x2 and express it as a linear combination of vectors -2, 1 and 1, 3. In other words, I'm going to take the vector x1, x2 and set it equal to A times -2, 1 plus B times 1, 3. So -2A plus B is equal to x1, and A plus 3B equals x2. Now I'm going to take the second equation over here and multiply by 2 on both sides. When I do that, I get 7B equals x1 plus 2x2. Solving for B, I get B equals 1/7 times the quantity x1 plus 2x2. Now, I rewrote the system over here and did it again, but this time I solved for A instead of B. So in other words, what I did was I took the first equation and multiplied both sides by -3 and added. When I do that, I get 7A equals -3x1 plus x2. Divide both sides by 7, and I get A equals 1/7 of -3x1 plus x2. So the vector x1, x2 is equal to 1/7 of -3x1 plus x2 times the vector -2, 1 plus 1/7 times the x1 plus 2x2 times the vector 1, 3. Now, just for convenience, I'm going to call this first scalar A and this second scalar B, right? Because now what I want to do is I want to find T of x1, x2. But that's T of A times -2, 1 plus B times 1, 3. But remember, T is a linear transformation. So we could write this as T of A -2, 1, right? Let me say that again. We could write this as T of A times -2, 1 plus T of B times 1, 3. But I could pull that scalar out because T is a linear transformation. So we could write this as A times T of -2, 1 plus B times T of 1, 3. But remember, A is 1/7 of -3x1 plus x2. And I'm going to multiply that by the vector -1, 2, 0. Then I'm going to go plus 1/7 of x1 plus 2x2. And then I'm going to multiply by the vector 0, -3, 5. So right here is my formula. What I did was took it a step further and found this vector. Okay? And so my final vector should be the following. It should be 3/7 x1, okay, minus 1/7 x2. That's the first component. The second component should be -9/7 x1 minus 4/7 x2. The third component should be 5/7 x1 plus 10/7 x2. So it's just a lot of simplifying. But after all that work, then we can find T of 2, -3. So wherever I see an x1, I'm going to put in 2 Wherever I see an x2, I'm going to put in negative 3. And when I do that, the first component should be 9/7. The second component should be negative 6/7. The third component should be negative 27. And that's how we do problem number 9 in the exam 3 review. Thank you.